everybody, Patty Ann here, and I'm back again to show you how easy it is to make an SVG out of a coloring book page. And if you saw in my intro just now, I showed you, well, I didn't show this one, but this is something else I did with it. I made it kind of a print and cut, okay, for this card, which I think is super cute. Maybe you're having a party and you want to use both of these things together. More of these for your tablescape. But this is really cute because I was able to use a child's face in this to really personalize it. I could also put their name here, or if it's their birthday or something else on here. But it's easy, so easy to use this. Now, I don't want you guys to all give me thumbs down. I got a few yesterday. People must be ticked because I told about this. But I think it's a fabulous deal at Creative Fabrica. I have the links for you down below. Hey, it just helps me to stay functioning here and to be able to purchase things to make stuff for you guys so I can teach. But anyway, I think it's a fabulous deal. It's only $13 a month and you can get so many coloring book pages and lots of other stuff. I was showing you a little bit in yesterday's video. Look up at my screen and I'll show you really quickly before I start showing you how to make this for any cutting machine. So look at my screen first. Okay, just to let you know what's available quickly, look up at my screen, like I said. You'll get 3,400 different fonts that you can use. They'll all be free. Hey, download as many as you want to. Stay for a month, 2 months, 3 months, and then cancel at any time. Also, you'll get all kind of craft resources. And look how many graphics. OMG, right? And of course you can always get the free stuff too, so be sure to click on that if you only purchase today's items to make what I'm going to show you how to make today. But let's look at these graphics for just a second. Okay, so it's going to come down here and show you all these kind of things, right? And I think some of these things are super cute, like this, the dogs and the puppies. And what's really cool about this one is this. Let me click on it to show you right quick. I got this one this morning because depending on what skin color you have, you can have little kids with different skin tones and you can get different kind of animals depending on the color. And I think they turn out super cute as mugs. Look at that. But anyway, what I wanted to show you today before I go on is, and there's tons and tons of stuff in here, you guys, tons. I want to just look up space background in case, oops, space background, digital paper. I'll just go to, I'll try that and just hit enter, search. Okay, this is going to open to all kind of space backgrounds that I could use in the backing of this card if I didn't want to use how I had done it. I was scrolling through here a little bit and I saw something I kind of liked. Like for example, this one. Look at this. How cute would this be? And so all I would do, and of course now since I have the program, I have the plan, $13 a month, all I do is any single thing I find here, I can just download it. And it's already downloading here. It's a zip file, so it would open up like this. And of course I'd have to extract it. And I leave it go to the folder that it comes in automatically, so I don't have to search for it. I would just say extract, and now you can get an idea of what these things look like. Look how cute that is. And you know, some of you who like to make candy wrappers and that kind of stuff, you know, you could have it on the card, you could have it on something on him. You can make candy wrappers with these things. I just think it's a really fabulous idea. It's so cool that for $13 a month, for however long you want to keep it, hey, these things are yours. When you grab them, they're yours to keep. It's not like Design Space where you rent things. You know, I had Cricut Design Space, the All Access, for years. And, you know, when I quit it recently, I lost all of those things. Now, if I want to go back and use them, I have to repurchase them. Because before, all I was basically doing was renting them. So, anyway, enough of that. Again, I'll have the link for this fabulous deal down below. Please check it out. It's regularly $29 a month. With the link down below, it's only $13, and you can get all this stuff. Let me just go back for the fonts for 1 sec. I mean, there are fonts galore in here that you are going to find stuff that you absolutely love and can't live without. So, all right, let's get on to the show. Okay, I've already downloaded these and opened them up into Silhouette, and I also have this that I found on the internet. Isn't it terrific? Because it's going to give me some colors that I could use for my rocket and my space guy. So the first thing that I did was I went ahead and traced both of these, because let's just assume, well, on my sample one, just like this that you can maybe see, let's just assume that we're going to make one first that's just print and cut. But before we can even color this guy, we have to trace it, because there's no way I can color this. So I'm going to go over here to the trace panel, which looks like a piece of toast to me, or a butterfly. Click on that to open it. Then I'm going to say select the trace area, and I'm just going to trace this. And it comes in pretty good. Let's scroll in just a little bit so you can see better. And it looks really terrific. I think I'll just up the threshold just a tiny bit, just because. And that's perfect. That's all I need. So all I have to do now is just say trace. And that is done. I'll move this thing out of the way because I really don't need it anymore. And now I'll trace this guy. So I'm going to come over here again to the trace tool that looks like a piece of toast and trace around this. Whoops, open the trace tool. Say select the trace area and trace it. And again, if I want to, I can up the threshold just a tiny bit and just say trace. So that's good to go. We're done with those. Let's drag this guy back over here now. So what I want to do is I want to make this, well, actually I'll make this exactly the same colors that I've made my big one, that I could make double-sided with the sticks inside. I could actually make him quite a bit bigger if I wanted to. He's about 10 inches tall. But anyway, the first thing I would do now is I like to click on my image and then come over here to the color swatch area up here in the upper left-hand corner. Click there and make the outer edge of him something I'm probably not going to use in my astronaut or in the object I'm working on. So I'd say I'm not going to use this green color. So I'm going to change everything to green like that. And I'll tell you why at the end. It's all going to be changed to black at the end, but I don't want it to be black right now because it would be too hard for me to see the pieces that I'm going to pick. So the next thing I do is I go to Object, Release the Compound Path. And what that's going to do, it's going to put a little square around every single piece that makes up the astronaut. You see that? Now let me show you, if I had made this first thing black, you'll see how hard it would be to see those pieces. See, that bothers my eyes. Maybe it doesn't bug you, but it bothers me. So I'm going to change it back to a light color again. And I can see it so much easier now, all these little pieces. So the first thing that I can do if I want to is to come around here and look and see what colors these are. So obviously his helmet is white. I can hold down my Shift key and begin clicking on the other things that will also be white as I hold down my Shift key. Okay. Oh, I think I got something messed up there. Let's check and see. I'm going to change all of that to white. I may have messed something up, but we can fix it. Let's see that. No, I really didn't mess anything up other than I missed this part of his leg. So I'm going to change that to white as well. So there's our first pieces that we need. Then the next thing that I did was I changed these stripes to blue. So again, I click on one, hold down my Shift key, another one. Let's see, did I make that blue? No, I made those red. I'm not sure why. I think I'll make them blue instead. And these other things are blue as well. See, is that it? Oh, his neck, this little thingy. All right, so come up here, and if I don't see a blue that I like, and it doesn't really matter unless I'm printing and cutting, it would matter. But if I didn't see a blue I liked here, I could go way over here on the opposite side to this paint palette and then go to Advanced Options and see if I can find a blue in there that I like. Okay, there's a nice blue, so I can leave it like that. Okay, his little mittens, I grab that one, hold down the Shift, get the other one, and I'll change those to orange, just like in the sample. And let's see, what else do we have? Well, this is going to be gray. So I'll click on that and I'll click on this one, and I'm going to make those a silvery gray color. Okay, let's see what else. All right, now this little thing, I made the whole part of this blue, the same blue I had used before. Okay. This I had made gray on my original one, but that's when I ended up putting a picture in there, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so far he's looking really good, and at this point now we could grab, now what I want to try to do, did you see that? When I clicked right here, all I got was this helmet. I have to keep trying right around here, and eventually it only takes a few clicks to get it right. There we go. I want the whole thing selected, because when that whole thing is selected, that means I have that backing that I made green. I'm going to change it to black. And look how much better he looks already. So I could actually pull that black piece out, because that's what we're going to build on eventually. But let me go ahead and undo that and put it back. So here's what we're going to do next. I'm going to grab some of these things and, well, just watch. I'm going to grab the green color here, and I know it's selected because look up here at what color is selected. Watch if I select the orange. See, the orange is selected, but I want the green here. While that's selected, I'm going to hold down my shift key and select this white part. And what I'm going to do then is to come way over here to the modify panel. It's a rectangle and a circle, and I'm going to say subtract. So what that did was it subtracted that part right out of there so that the black behind this box shows through. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get rid of this. I decided I don't really like this thing to be in there that much, especially when I put the little face in there. So I'm just clicking on it and hitting delete on my keyboard. The next thing I am going to do is get that outermost part that's green, hold down my shift key, grab the white of his helmet and say subtract, and that allows the black again to show through. Do you see how that works? Alright, so we're going to color these, and I made the outer two red, so I'll click this one, hold down shift, click this one, and make them red. And I think I made this red. I didn't, but I'm going to make this one red also. And then I'll make this yellow and get these two little rectangles here. Hold down the shift to get the other one and make those yellow. Now, I want you to look in here. That green is still showing up there. We don't want to have to cut out a green circle like that. That's just silly. I want it to just look black. So I'm going to hold this, click on this green, hold down my shift key, click on the blue, come over here to the modify panel and say subtract. Okay, I can do it to the next one. I got the green selected. I know that because of this. Hold down my shift key, click on the blue, come over to the modify panel, say subtract. I'll do one more at a time. Now see, I want you to just see what this did. See, that cut that out of there so that you can see the black behind it. And you don't have to cut out little green or little black circles. So one more just on its own, and then I'll do these three at the same time. I'm going to click on the green, hold down my shift, click on the blue, say subtract. Okay, so as I said, I can do several at one time. Click on the green, hold down my shift, click on this green, still holding my shift, click on this green, still holding the shift key down. Now click the blue and say subtract. And that got all of them at one time. Isn't that cool? Look at that. Love it. So let's scroll back out for a sec. Okay, now if you want to put a picture in here, let's see, what did I do? Did I do file, merge? I'm not sure if I saved that little picture of that kid. Let's see. I guess I didn't. So, no, I didn't. So, I'm just going to grab an image offline and I'll be right back. Okay, I found this little picture that I'm going to use of a girl this time, and I'm going to make it smaller. I'm going to bring this circle over because this is the circle, and I'll bring it to the front. Right click, bring to front, so I can get an idea of how much of her face I want to be able to see. So I'm going to make this a little smaller. Why does it keep moving like that? Stop. There we go, a little smaller. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this circle, come over here to this paint palette on the very right hand side, and I can change the transparency of that so I can really even get a better idea of what I'm getting. And I'm thinking like I don't really want her ear, so like that maybe. Yeah, that's going to be really cute. I wonder if I can make it a little tiny bit so we get a little tiny bit of her hair. There we go. So, all right, what I'm going to do now is grab both of these two things, come over here to the Modify panel, and say Crop. And then I have her little face cropped perfectly like that. I'll right click and say Bring it to the front, and she can go in there just like that. Isn't that adorable? I just love it. Now if you wanted to, if you were really making this for a little girl, you know, you could change the color of this part. You know, let her have a little girly astronaut, right? But now this could be a print then cut just like this. And that's pretty much what I did do for the card. If I wanted to, I could group all this together and add a little bit of an offset to this. Offset, just a tiny one, just to make it look a little bit cooler, a little nicer. I must keep clicking off that little, there we go. Okay, yeah. Oopsie, I got two of them now. I don't want two offsets, I just want the one. All right, that'll be fine. I'll just make it white. Not that. I will make the offset white. There we go. No, I can see. Can you tell that I had the black selected right here, right? I want the red, the outline, the outermost line. There, nope. All right, what the heck? I should be able to get this. There we go, finally. You see, the transparent part is selected. I'm going to change that to white. Now, if I'm using this for print and cut at Cricut Design Space, I would want to change the line color to the medium gray, like that. All right, and then I would group all of this together, and she would be fine just like that. Now, I'm going to make a duplicate of this, so I'm going to hold down my Alt key and bring a duplicate over. And I'm going to show you how to make this into, if you wanted to use not print and cut, but you wanted it to be an SVG. So all you would need to do then is to ungroup this. And I can get rid of the offset. I no longer need that. And so let's see, is it still grouped? Yeah, ungroup. So I would have to print and cut her little face, but let's move this one way off the mat. And move this, oopsie. Move this off the mat for right now as well. Okay, so the first thing I would probably do is grab the black, because I would just print that. But wait, before I do this, I'd want to resize it. If I wanted to make this 10 inches like my other one, I would make sure I had every single thing selected, and then lock this lock, and then I actually could group it all again. And now I can come up here and make it, instead of it being 2.8 inches tall, I can maybe make it like 10 inches tall. Okay, like that. And she'll be adorable. Now, of course, if I was doing this for a print then cut, I would have to make sure it would fit within the parameters of Cricut Design Space, and that would be too big. But anyway, I'm making this now as an SVG. So again, I would ungroup this. But I would have to print and cut this. This would go on its own mat. And then what I would do is this. I would come up to this. Well, I don't really have to do this. What I guess I would do is just separate these according to color like this. But if I was using this at Cricut Design Space, I might do it a little bit differently. So I'm going to put all the blues together. And of course, it would depend if I was doing this out of cardstock, which is what I'm doing, or vinyl. I would not do it like this if I was doing it out of vinyl. I'll show you in a subsequent or a later video what I would do, how I would do it differently if I was doing it with vinyl. Okay, so I can group all these together if I want. Not the white part. There we go. Group. Hopefully I got it all. Yep. All right, now these two little gray pieces, put those together. And now the white. Well, the red, I can hold down my shift key after I clicked one and get these other ones. And if I want to, I can group them. Same with the yellow. Just group these all together. Group. Okay, so now if I was using cardstock for all of these in the same, pretty much the same kind of cardstock, what I could do is put like, figure out how big this piece, these two pieces are together. So what I'd probably do is group them. And I can read this and it says it's 2.59 inches wide. So I would make sure I probably put a piece of orange on here that was 3 inches by, and this says 1.23. I'd probably do 3 by 3 inches or something like that, a piece of orange there. Then I could figure out how I could put these close together and, you know, ungroup them and put dark blue over here in this corner. So orange on the left hand side, dark blue over here. And since they're all going to be cut out of the same kind of cardstock, I can just have it do one right after the other. And go ahead and group these again. And once they're grouped, I can see, well, this one says it's a little over 3.5 inches. So I'd probably make this like 4 by 5 because this is 4.6. So that's how big I'd make that piece. And I would continue doing the same thing with these little pieces. Okay, for the white, and again, this is for if I'm using cardstock. I could find out what size piece I'd need for white to do this. Whoops. And I'd group it all together. And I see that I would need a piece about 9.5 inches tall by 6 inches wide probably. So I could have the blue here, maybe a piece of white here, the orange up here. I could do the red. Okay, the red's down here. And the yellow I could do here, and the gray here. So I could put little pieces of cardstock on here and send it all at the same time. The only thing I'm not able to fit, I don't think, is the black. I do that by itself. And actually, I might even want to do 2 pieces of black if I'm putting sticks in between to make it like a, you know, on a stand for something that's really tall. But for Cricut or for Silhouette now, all I would do is go send. And you can see that these are going to send just perfectly. I would change my settings over here because I like mine to be quite a bit higher here. And it would just go through these one at a time. As you can see here, let's see, I don't need that. It's going to do the black. Well, we don't have any black here on the mat. I only need the things on the mat checked. So it would do the red, and then it would go and do the yellow. And then it would do the white, the blue, the orange, and the gray. It would just do them one after another if I had them all set up and they were all the exact same, you know, settings here, right? I'd have to change and make sure the settings were all proper. Then when I'm done with that, I could move all of these off of here and maybe put 2 of these on it, but I probably can only do 1 because I only have 8.5 by 11 cardstock of black. So I could come up here to make sure it's going to fit, which I know it will, but come up to the page setup panel, change my media size right here. Don't have to fiddle around with typing it in. Just click on that drop down arrow and choose letter. And then I can see, yeah, indeed, that is going to fit on there perfectly. So once I'm done cutting that out, then I would have to do her as a print then cut. To do her face as a print then cut now, I would have to come over here in the page setup panel and add my registration marks. And I could add more of her if I wanted to, or make some other things that I would like to have for print then cuts. Maybe I'm going to make several of them to put around, you know, the room for her party or something like that. So that's how you would do that. The same thing for Cricut Design Space. The only thing I would do differently is this. Let's delete 2 of these. For Cricut Design Space, what I would do is this. Let's bring these all back over here. Okay, here's what I would do for Cricut Design Space. And the reason being is each of these will come in as separate little pieces, 100 million little pieces if I don't. So what I'd probably do is right click on this and say make a compound path. It's going to change its color, but I could change it back to the one I wanted. Or I could just remember, it doesn't really matter. Object, I'm going to right click and make this a compound path. Again, I'll just change it back to the white. orange. I'll make this a compound path. I can come up here to Object, make compound path, and change it back to the orange. The red, File, oops, Object, make compound path, make it back to the red. And the yellow, Object, make compound path, and change it back to the yellow. So then what I could do for Cricut Design Space is this. Just grab all these little things and just put a selection box around all of it. Go to File, Save Selection. Oh wait, I want to save her with it too, but she's a print and cut. I might want to save her separately. I'm just going to save these first. File. Let's think for a minute. For Cricut Design Space. Yes, I will go to File, Save Selection, save it to my hard drive, and I'm going to save it as Astronaut for Cricut. And I'm going to save it as an SVG, and I hope I have Save Selection selected. SVG. Okay. If I don't, it's going to say something weird when we go over to Cricut, so let's check it out. Okay, this was from yesterday. I want to do new, so I'm going to replace, upload an image, browse, and where in the world did I save it? Oh, downloads. Yep, there it is. Astronaut for Cricut. Open. If it says something, nope, it's good. Save. And bring it in. And here we have it. Now, I might have wanted, if I was trying to keep track of what size I was making this, I could have put the size in the name first. Remember, I've shown that before. But if I want to make this any size I want, say I don't want this to be any taller, let's see, than about 10 inches, I guess. So there we go. So then what we would do is just go to make it, and on the white it would have these pieces. Now since it's not vinyl and since I was moving the pieces around, it's not going to stay exactly where it needs to be. But we don't need to since we're not doing vinyl. We're doing cardstock where you just glue things together. So that's all there is to it for Cricut. It's easy peasy. I saved it as an SVG. It's ready to go. The other thing is though, remember, for Cricut, we'll go back here, I'm going to save this now. Now, I showed you how to do this for Silhouette. You'll just save it as or print and cut it. So for Silhouette, let me refresh your memory really quickly. Let me get all these things off of here. For Silhouette, what we're going to do is we put on our registration marks, and I would do this and maybe make more of her if I wanted to. Then I would go to File, Print. And I would print her just like this, print. And then after it's printed, I'd bring the same sheet of paper over, put it onto my mat, my real mat, and say send. And then I would probably go back to simple and just take this one. See, it's going to cut right around the edge of her perfectly. That's all I need to do. So now for, if you want to use this in Cricut now, you'll go to select it. You go File, Save Selection, Save to Hard Drive. Now this might have been when you wanted to make sure you made it the right size on both parts that we are doing. But since I didn't, I would just say little girl for Cricut. And I'm going to save her as an as a JPEG. I always save as a JPEG, not a PNG for Cricut, JPEG. And I'll just say save. And I hope I said save selection. I'm afraid I didn't. Let me go again. File, save selection. If I don't save the selection, all this other junk's going to try to save, and I'm going to get errors over there in Cricut Design Space. So save selection, save to hard drive, and little girl for Cricut. And I'll name it as a JPEG. Say okay. Yes, I'll replace that one because I want to make sure I did it right. Okay, then over in Cricut Design Space, all we have to do is upload an image, browse. There she is. Now, notice the white box around her. We don't want that, but we know how to get rid of it. We will just come here and click, 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 and click. and continue. And that's all there is to it. I'll bring it as a print and cut. And I'll probably have to resize it because, well, let's see. No, it's actually pretty perfect because I didn't change that one. So the other thing we would have to do then is go to make it, and her little face would be a print and cut. So how easy is this, you guys? Listen, I use the Silhouette Studio software for my Cricut machine. You can too. Whether you're using a Cricut Maker or a Cricut Explorer, look what you can do. Also, don't forget about the sale going on right now. There's not that many left of the discounted price of $13 per month to use all of these fantastic images from Creative Fabrica. I love it, and I think you will too. And just because I'm telling you about a good deal, please don't give me a thumbs down. LOL. Anyway, so let's go back over to Silhouette. And I'm probably asking for thumbs down when I say don't do it, right? All right. So the other thing I made was the card, but I think this video is getting quite lengthy, so I'm not going to show how to do that right now. And for this guy here, you would do exactly the same thing. Just select it, change it to a color you're probably not going to use. I think I'll make it like an orange. Okay, then what I would do is go to Object, release the compound path, and now I have all these little squares here that I can color any color I want. So I can make the wings blue, kind of like the sample there, and this wing blue. This can be a print and cut, or you can make it as an SVG that you cut apart in vinyl or in cardstock. Okay, so the other thing that we need to do, and I'll just show you very, very quickly. Remember what we did. We finally then went and grabbed the outermost part. There we go. I got the outer edge. See that? How it's a square all the way around it? Change that to black. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to change some of these outer edges that we need to have black. So scroll in a little more so you can see better. So right now there's two different pieces here, right? And I really don't want that. What I want to have happen is this piece, the outermost piece, hold down my shift key and select the gray, come over here to the modify panel and say subtract. So what that did now is it's going to cut a hole out of the gray so it lets the black show. So I don't have to have a yellow circle and a black circle. I just have a yellow circle and the black from the backing is showing through. Again, do it here. Click, hold down the shift, grab this, subtract. Same thing. Click off, then click on, shift, gray, subtract, and so on. So that's it. I hope you like this tutorial. I hope that you'll try to do some of these things. You can make so many of your own free SVGs for just one $13 payment, because you can belong to that Creative Fabrica by using the link below for $13. Make a whole slew of things, and then if you have to quit, you can quit. But you know what? I bet if you're like me, you'll stay with it because I really like it, and I find stuff every single month to use. So anyway, I hope to see y'all again soon. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye, y'all.